What's up, everyone? Today I am back in Adobe Premiere, and I'm going to revisit color correction, which is something I covered a while ago, but I've learned a good bit about it. And so, anyway, just wanted to show you all the good stuff I've learned. So, let's throw our new footage onto the timeline. And this was originally from a demon face video. And I highly recommend you shoot, if you have a Canon DSLR, by the way. If you do have a Canon DSLR, you can download a free color preset from Technicolor's website called CineStyle, and it basically shoots the flattest image you could imagine on something like a T2i or a 7D or whatever, and maximizes the dynamic range, and it just looks awesome. So, that being said, let's get started, even though I didn't shoot this using CineStyle. Although it's a nice flat image. So the first thing we're going to do is put our different effects, presets, whatever, onto our footage. So we're going to need a circle, Pro Camp, RGB curves, and 3-way color corrector. Okay, first thing, turn off the circle. We'll worry about that later. And first thing we'll do, I say go to the RGB curves or the Pro Camp. I recommend you put the 3-way color corrector before the Pro Camp and RGB curves before all that. Yes, that's good. And then the circle can be above all of it. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, here we are. We got our RGB curves. We'll open up this window, and then we have our 4 different curve options. You can use red, green, and blue as actual color correction rather than color grading. So if I thought the shot was too blue, I could grab the blue and bring it down. And it actually doesn't look half bad. But what I like to do is zoom in and then very, very finely adjust it. So then when I come out, everything looks good. But anyway, let's just undo that. It looks pretty good. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show you how to do is add what is called an S curve. And it basically just means this, you curve it so that it looks like an S. But this is to add contrast, and it gives a really high dynamic range looking contrast. So we're just going to start out by clicking in the center to make a point, and then clicking here on the lower portion of it, and you grab somewhere in between. If you grab up higher, it does something like this. By the way, I'm just showing you extreme results, and if you grab lower, it's something like this. So, not too much of an obvious difference. I usually grab it somewhere in the middle, but anyway, we just pull it down, and that adds contrast, and it looks pretty darn good. And then you can tweak it however you like. This upper portion, the upper point represents the highlights, and the bottom portion represents the shadows. So if we wanted to boost the midtones and highlights and crush the blacks a little more, then it would turn out totally weird contrast like that. So we're just going to do something like that for now. You can even brighten it up just a little bit in the highlights. But anyway, that's the RGB curves. You can play with that for a long time and have a lot of fun making awesome looking color grading. But next, let's go to our Pro Camp, and let's just bring down the brightness a little bit. Actually, that's unnecessary. Let's leave the brightness where it is. And go back to our RGB curves and pull this point down. Actually, that'll mess with our other points, but I would have made this a little darker by initially pulling this down. But anyway, let's go to our Pro Camp, and this image is really saturated. Let's pull up the split screen. This image is really saturated, so we're gonna bring the saturation down. Let's take off our split screen. Bring the saturation up. Something like that looks pretty good. I'm at 83. Now let's go to our three-way color corrector, and for our shadows, we're gonna go to like a teal color. That's how a lot of Hollywood movies are doing it these days, with peach color, like a skin tone, and like a teal color, kind of between blue and green. So I'm gonna put that teal in the shadows, and sometimes I just like to turn off my effect just to see what difference it's making. And that looks pretty good. And then we're gonna go over here to the midtones, and I'm gonna drag a good bit of teal into, peach into it. And what that's doing is fixing the color of my skin that looked totally white because of our S curve. So yeah, you can see how it's white and then got some color. And then we're gonna do the same thing for our highlights, make it a little more on the warmer side. And that's good for the three-way color corrector. So now it's pretty well corrected. This might be like a little heavy contrast, but all depends on the look you're going for. So be creative with these three different effects, and do what you already know. By the way, don't just forget everything you already know. But another thing, turn on the circle. I have a tutorial covering a vignette, so you can go back to that. But I'm just gonna do everything really quick and show you what it might look like once you have the vignette on it. Feather it out and increase the radius, drop the opacity. That gives us a nice soft vignette edge. And so there we have it. Nice color corrected shot. This honestly looks pretty cool to me. Probably could have avoided that extreme saturation, but I shot this a long time ago, and this is some of the only raw footage I could pull out that's 1080p. I wanted a good 1080p shot. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please hit the subscribe button. I really, really appreciate that. Got lots of tutorials, After Effects stuff. Second channel is the 5-Star Cinema. So if you want to check that out, that's where I put all my special effects stuff. So anyway, thanks again for watching. It really means a lot. So I will see you in my next video, or you'll see me rather. So thanks guys. Bye.